Nicki Minaj, aka Nicki Minaj, has returned with her fourth studio album, Queen. Fun fact, this is the first Nicki Minaj album without Pink in the title, or even the track list. This is the first Nicki Minaj studio album in 4 years since 2014's Pink print, which gave us hits like Anaconda. Only, maybe? That was sort of a hit. In between that, Nicki Minaj has been featured on some big tracks that have kept her relevant in the court of public opinion. Like Swallow with Jason Derulo, a song about blowjobs that peaked at number 6 in the UK chart. Well done, UK. Well done, Britain. When it comes to female rappers, it seems there can only be one that can really be in the limelight at a time. Nicki Minaj has certainly done her bit to tear down any other female MC competition that has come in the 10 years that she's been relevant. Lil' Kim, Remy Ma, they've all had beef with Nicki Minaj and come off worse off. Interestingly now, Cardi B is the biggest female rapper at the moment. Her album Invasion of Privacy has had many hits like I Like It, Bodak Yellow. She's just been all over the charts this year. On Hard White could potentially be seen as some shots at Cardi B, where Nicki says she doesn't have to strip to be in pole position. Take that how you will. We'll see if anything comes of it. But she does send some really interesting shots on Barbie Dreams, a remake of Notorious B.I.G.'s Dreams from his debut album Ready to Die, and a song where Biggie talks about all the women in the entertainment business, primarily R&B, that he wants to fuck. Now, there's a big double standard here because rappers from the genre's inception have been talking about fucking other celebrities. The amount of references we hear in other rappers' songs about having sex with Nicki Minaj, you'd think her making a song slamming rappers and taking the piss out of them for trying to fuck her would go down well, but a few people have really bristled at Nicki just verbally just rejecting all these men that want to fuck her, basically. I think it's hip-hop. She says it herself. She's just joking around here. But she digs at, like, 50 Cent. She says Young Thug's trying to wear her dresses, and he didn't take too kindly to that. She says she doesn't want to fuck Drake because he'll be too busy crying. I think it's hilarious. And it's the spirit of the genre. If you can give it out, if you can talk about how you want to have sex with all these female celebrities, and then one of them comes back and says she wouldn't fuck you because you're too busy wearing her dresses, then you shouldn't really be getting upset, Young Thug. Barbie Dreams is definitely one of the most interesting and hilarious moments on the track, on the album, Queen. The roasting is great. It's a great listen. She's got a really nice flow here. At the end, she sort of eschews the jokey angle and just does some actual, like, spits some actual bars. Really good here. Really like her flow. The beat is taken from the original Notorious B.I.G. version. Nicki Minaj also used this idea on one of her previous mixtapes. Barbie Dreams is essentially a remake of this because the original Dreams by Nicki Minaj had the verses, the structure, even the hook is very similar to this. But the difference between the current Barbie Dreams and the 2007 version is that the rappers that Nicki Minaj is talking about back then are just so fucking irrelevant now, it's ridiculous. She's talking about, like, Hell Rell, Gilly the Kid, Red Cafe, all these New York guys that were sort of big in the mid-2000s. Apart from Gilly the Kid, he's from Philly. So it's quite dated and quite amusing to listen to when you got your 2018 glasses on. Another interesting track is number 2, entitled Majesty, featuring Labyrinth and Eminem, who also produced the track. Majesty is a classic example of shitty Eminem production that we've been hearing since at least 2000. It's just the usual, like, just a couple notes on a piano, and then just some drums underneath it. Eminem's productions are really skeletal. Most of them just sound the same, and this is something you'd expect from Eminem in 2018. His verse, like you'd expect from recent Eminem, is fucking shit. He does that thing where he just raps really, really, really fast, and he just says a load of rubbish that's just boring and no one wants to hear about it. He spends a couple of bars talking about how you can't play with him, so you might as well play hide and seek, but because he's so good at hide and seek, you have to like look through your fingers when you're pretending to count, and he's going to be off or whatever. Eminem's got nothing to talk about these days, basically. He's made up with his mum now. He doesn't take drugs anymore. He's happy, well, to a degree. And what's he got left to talk about? He's not being shocking anymore. He's too old to really be slamming all these celebrities like he is. When he does it, like he was doing on Revival, it was a bit crass. So we just get this boring Eminem verse. Labyrinth does an okay hook, but again, we haven't heard anything good from Labyrinth for a good few years now as well. And Nicki Minaj's verse is good on here, but the song is just derailed completely when she's not on it. I love Thought I Knew You featuring The Weeknd. This track, produced by Circuit, has a really spacey, like claustrophobic, yet spacey and airy feel with these really dark synths that come in when Weeknd's verse comes in. It feels a bit like House of Balloons Weeknd. Degenerate Weeknd comes out here, who we haven't heard for a while, and he vibes quite nicely with Nicki Minaj. They both sing and they both sort of rap together, and this is a really nice moment. They've got great chemistry on this track. One of the best tracks on the album by far. Rich Sex is quite forgettable. It features Lil Wayne, who has one of the least memorable verses on this album, and we've heard from Lil Wayne for a while. The most interesting bit, you hear him come in at the intro, he introduces himself, and then you listen to the track, it fades into the background because Rich Sex is quite boring, and then you just go through, and it's about 2 tracks later and you realise that, oh, Lil Wayne's on this album. I've listened to this album about 3 or 4 times now, and every time I listen to it, I'm surprised when I hear Lil Wayne on it, because I just forget he's on it every single time. I like Bed, featuring Ariana Grande. Nicki Minaj and Ariana Grande have worked together in the past, and they've got good chemistry here. I like Grande's breathy, airy vocals in the chorus, and Nicki Minaj has some really good verses here. And I feel like this song makes more sense in the context of the album than when it was released as a single. I think Bed fits in quite nicely in the track list between Hard White and just before Thought I Knew You featuring The Weeknd. But overall, Queen is, much like most Nicki Minaj albums, it's quite spotty. It definitely loses steam in the second half of the album, where most of the tracks are quite forgettable, and it sort of feels like she's run out of ideas towards the end. I feel like Nicki Minaj always makes her albums about 20 minutes too long. They're always about an hour and 10 minutes, when most of them could be about 40 minutes and they'd be a lot more refined. There wouldn't be as much filler on there, and it'd be a lot better. Nicki Minaj doesn't really capture your attention like Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy did. Invasion of Privacy was a lot more compelling than Queen. Cardi B's got a lot more energy and personality in a lot of these tracks. She sounds hungrier. She wants to become the top female rapper at the moment. She's having a lot more chart success than Nicki Minaj at the moment. In terms of qualities of Queen versus Invasion of Privacy, then Invasion of Privacy is by far the better album here. One of the best rap albums of the year so far. Whereas Queen just feels a bit lackluster, especially in that second half. And with tracks like Sir featuring Future and Nip Tuck that feel really generic, it does sag. Therefore, I will give Queen 5 out of 10.